Pompo the Cinephile. If you love movies, if you dream about making a movie one day and want to be inspired while being thoroughly entertained, then this movie is for you. This is an anime film I saw in the theaters when it came out, and it absolutely floored me in a different way because of how happy it made me, because I love with a passion cinema. And this movie just made me feel so happy, so enthusiastic, and so it just reignited or solidified my own passion for cinema. And I just highly recommend this movie to you. So, this film follows Gene, who is an isolated young cinephile, which already I can relate, and I'm sure many of you can. He's a personal assistant to a B movie producer, very successful, named Pompo. And she is a very small, aggressive little woman, and she looks very much like a child, to be honest. Since it's anime, a lot is very stylized, so she looks like a child, but she's a very famous producer in a fictitious version of Hollywood. I think it's called Nollywood. She is a expert at making B movies, and there's a very funny scene which I'll put up the still right here. But there's a very funny scene of where he's just constantly taking notes. Gene is just constantly taking notes while he's on a film set. He's just criticizing the story of this film because it's just about sex appeal, monsters, guns, and all that. But he sees the fact that she does it so well, and she really knows how to manipulate an audience. To put it simply, Pompo writes her first script, and she tells Gene to direct it for her. She gives him full creative control in directing. And this completely floors him and just shocks him, and he just can't believe it, you know? And then she casts a young aspiring actress named Natalie. And she has no experience whatsoever, but she's a dreamer, and she has so much passion, but she just doesn't have the tools. They allude to that she comes from like the Midwest on a farm or something. She's constantly working all these odd jobs, all these labor jobs, trying to put herself through acting school and to become a famous actress one day. And Pompo takes a chance on both of them, and she puts Natalie in acting classes, and she has her shadow a famous actress. And then Gene's a cinephile, so she just lets him go crazy and lets him go to work. And then they cast the movie, they get the funding, and then they boom, we're off to the races. And the film's awesome. The film is just so fun, so cool, just to see the art of filmmaking. And that's what this movie's about, really just the art of filmmaking. And it's just so fun and cool the way the film is written. It's just such a good time. You follow the characters as they learn a lot of lessons about themselves, about filmmaking. This movie is very ideal, in case you didn't tell from the plot. It's very idealistic, it's very optimistic, but I feel like the passion, all that comes from realism. And sometimes there's nothing wrong with a feel-good, dream-like story, you know? Like it motivates you if it's done right and it's not done in a cheesy, like that would never happen way. The movie's very stylized, so I feel like the verisimilitude is done correctly, because I feel personally like you just go with it and it's a great time. And there's a great moment when they're shooting on location in the Alps, and one of the lead actors, he's essentially like a Daniel Day-Lewis slash Brad Pitt type of guy. He's like a blonde, chiseled, good-looking man, but then he's like Daniel Day-Lewis because he's won like 10 Oscars, and he's been in retirement for 10 years, you know? So he comes out of retirement for this role. He starts to give his opinions while shooting, and Gene, because he's young and inexperienced, he right away is like, oh, like, whatever you say. And then the veteran actor reminds him, you are the director, so I'm going to give my opinion, but it's up to you to use my opinion. And that gives Gene confidence. He puts his foot down when he needs to, and other times there's a great scene where everyone gives their input, even the crew. And Gene loves it, and it's a really great collaborative scene where they enhance a scene that's in the script. There's just so many lessons in this film. There's another scene where Gene is editing, and while he's just looking deep within himself, he's connecting to the film personally. And I feel like this moment is so crucial for a film fan, because we all go through this. Just because the characters are going through something you've never gone through, the emotions behind it are relatable. And the film they're directing is about a troubled music conductor. And obviously he's a little cinephile, you know? But while he's editing the film, he starts to connect. He finds the passion behind it and how the character is sacrificing his personal life for the art of music. And he finds that that's what he's doing for film. and he just starts to really relate to the film, and then he discovers they need an additional scene. And that creates a whole, I guess you could say, an inciting incident, or just some sort of dilemma that becomes like a big focus towards like the last act of the film, needing to shoot another scene, and him stating his case why this scene needs to happen. And they have to schedule the screening, and then they lose funding, and it's just like this whole mess. But he's so passionate and so adamant of why this scene needs to exist. And it's just, it's just a great movie with great lessons. I feel like the movie is truly inspiring. And again, you don't even need to be into cinema. I feel like you could, if you just are passionate about something, you will relate to this film, just like how he relates to the music conductor. And yeah, I highly recommend this film to people. This movie is really about the art of filmmaking, and it's a love letter to cinema. It's a love letter to cinephiles, and I think most of us cinephiles, especially male cinephiles, can relate to Gene. I feel like most people haven't seen this film. Even anime fans haven't seen this film. This movie is like a bridge for both worlds, anime fans and film fans. But especially this film is made for the cinephile. It's made for the movie enthusiast. So yeah, I hope you guys check it out. Let me know your thoughts on the film. If you've seen it already, or if I've swayed you to check it out, come back and let me know. I really hope this movie gets some attention 2 years later, or almost 3 years later at this point. But yeah, thanks for watching.